Okay, so here we are for the very first part of our JCI Ireland Meet the Members series. So I'm very excited to be joined by Charlotte Murray, who's the 2022 JCI Ireland Director of Community. So just to give you a little bit of an idea, what's going to happen is over the next few evenings, we're going to just have short little Q&As with some of our JCI Ireland members, just to give you a little background into what JCI is, why people joined and what they get out of it. So first up on the hot seat tonight, we have who we all know as Shaz. So you're very welcome, Shaz.
How are you? Sorry now that I didn't get all dolled up for this occasion. I'm afraid it's just too cold for anything now, Stephen.
It is. It's freezing outside. So I'm sure we'll warm up as this goes on. There's nothing I've been put on the hot seat. So the full idea really is just to hear a little bit about your JCI background, kind of how long you've been involved, what you've gotten from it. So it's really just your JCI story in your words. So I guess the first thing really to start off with is, we always say that JCI is the best kept secret, and so many people hear about it after they turn 40, and it's too late, unfortunately, for them to become members, because it is a leadership development organisation for 18 to 40-year-olds. But how did you first hear about JCI?
I think I've told this story at every JCI event I've ever been at. It was Kira Kyo. I don't in JCI. I don't think you've been in JCI more than 10 minutes before you'll have heard of Kira. But yeah, Kira was local girl here from Westport, and she was always posting about JCI and opportunities and stuff she was doing. And they'd done a dogathon. I'd seen different bits that she was doing, and I was like, "What is this JCI thing that she's involved in?" And in typical Kira form, when I asked her, she didn't really give me the full answer. It was come along to a meeting and you'll see. So I was like, curiosity got the cat. Better pop along and see. And I met another girl in Carboyle for coffee, and we met Kira there. And because I would have known Kira, but I wouldn't really at the time. And when I headed off this meeting, totally nervous as to what was going on with a load of people I didn't know, which wouldn't be my comfort zone at all. And I left the meeting going, that was brilliant. Great crack. Everyone was so welcoming. I felt like I'd been out with people I was friends with all evening. But I was still kind of going, no, I don't know if it's for me or not. But in JCI form, everyone is so supportive, and it's like, I feel slow to say the word addictive, but it's like it's something you just love. You want to spend more time with these people when you're around them. Everyone's so like-minded. Everyone's there to support you. There's nothing you can say. Like, you never feel stupid in a group of JCI people, because no matter what you say, people will be like, right, well, I'll give you pointers on that, or else they'll support you and cheer you on. So yeah, I ended up becoming a member, ended up becoming local president, ended up going on the national board. It just all kind of spiraled from that one coffee.
That tends to happen quite a lot in JCI, actually.
Yeah, the nudge, as we do call it.
The gentle nudge, yeah. So I suppose when I went along first, I got to hear a lot about. I went to an event like that, and I can also blame Miss Kira Kyo. But really, it was hearing a bit about JCI and the 4 different pillars. So it's so broad, where we focus on business, community, international, and individual. So there was different things that kind of, I suppose, attracted me to it first, and I went along to a meeting to learn a bit more. But what is it that actually really got you over the line? Like, what really inspired you to join?
Well, the big appeal to me was, at the time, I was involved with a lot of different, big blank in the background tonight, a lot of different charity groups and a lot of different events and different organisations and all the rest, and you kind of get tired out of it. You're stretched yourself too thin for that kind of voluntary stuff. And then when I went to JCI, I was like, this city pulls everything I love and everything I want to do into one place at one time. So I can do my volunteer stuff. I was trying to get involved in business at the time, do a bit of photography. I was like, I can do that. I can get pointers on personal development. It literally, international travel was something I always wanted to do. And like, there's nothing, like, everyone said to me, what is JCI? And I'm like, it's more what JCI isn't. Because no matter what branch you're in or what you're in, you can do everything under it. Because like, it's personal, international, business, and I'm forgetting one, community. So like, all that stuff together. I know the pillars have changed and the locals have changed and stuff over the years, but the ethos has always been the same. It's what members want to do for the betterment of themselves and betterment of those around them. And like, everything falls under that somewhere. So like, just brilliant. Everything I wanted to do fell under it. So many new ideas. But every time I leave a meeting, I have 1,000 new events or 1,000 new ideas in my head as to what I would like to do and what I'd like to get involved with. So it was just seemed like the no-brainer thing to join it, because it supported every part of my life at that point and still now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It seems so broad, but it all kind of somehow weirdly all ties in and kind of connects together as well. I think the friendships as well that you meet throughout all the different projects and events that you work on, they've definitely stood to me. What year was it that you joined? It was around 2017?
It was 2016, November 2016 when I went to a meeting first. It was, yeah, Karen was president. So 2016 when I went, and then I became deputy 2017, no, 2018 deputy. I was director of community communications in 2017, deputy 2018, president 2019, disappeared 2020, and came back 2021.
Okay, so you've been quite active for what, nearly 6 years now. So I guess in all that time, because I know I've worked with you on a lot of different projects and events, and I've seen you at so many that we can't even count. But for you, if you can limit it to one or maybe even two moments or experiences that throughout your time in JCI that's really stood to you and that's really kind of one of those standout moments?
I think on a whole, the CYP project will always be one that's massive for me. Just hearing people's stories and stuff like that's a yearly one is an amazing one. I think a personal moment for me will be getting with yourself and Kira and Deb and all the rest of the team was getting our own convention over the line. Being able to host a brilliant convention in Westport was massive to me, and it's something I'll always be really, really proud of. Because that was an event that it was brilliant, and it was so not happening so many times, and it just when the weekend came, I don't think anyone else seen the cracks that we seen, but it was just a brilliant weekend. So it's always something I'll be very proud of, and I'll always hold dear.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So for those people watching who aren't familiar with TYP is our top outstanding. So every year, young people aged 18 to 40 nominated in their local areas for outstanding achievements, and there's 10 different categories. And then they kind of go further than to national and then maybe on to world. So we've had quite a lot of world winners from JCI Ireland over the last few years. And I know in Shaz's home branch, there have been two from JCI Mayo, the most recent.
Oh, it's on your
The
frozen then.
TYP awards are, and I know it does hold. I frozen?
You froze there for a second, but you're just going back there when you stop.
The joys of Wi-Fi. I'm convinced that it's definitely taken a little bit of a knock the last few days of the cold weather, but hopefully you can hear me now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the National Convention would be our kind of finale event for JCI Ireland at the end of the year. And every year, a local organisation hosts it. So I think the convention you were referring to is your year local president in 2019, when that was the last time I think it was held in Mayo. So yeah, without a doubt, I can see why they're big moments in your JCI career. So going from kind of events and standout moments, one of the things that we offer is an awful lot of trainings, especially across the 4 different pillars. So it could be a training on LinkedIn or public speaking, and it could kind of go then from that maybe over to social media, whatever it might be. We've also done gyro lessons, we've had team building activities. Really, it's broad. Anything that can be done, it really comes back to what members want to do. But for you, since you joined, what's been one of the key trainings that you've attended?
I think for me personally, one of the massive barriers that I wanted to overcome when I joined JCI was public speaking. One of the push-up points for me to signing up was I'd had an event that I'd been planning for a long time, and I totally buggered it, for the want of a better word, because when it came to presenting the prize, the present at the end, I literally got up, threw it at the person, and I went, "Yeah, there you go, bye." And everyone was so disappointed because they put so much work into it, and I'd so much prepared, but I got up there and I froze, and it was only a small room of people, so I was like, no, like something like that shouldn't ruin your moments, or there's so many things you don't think of public speaking being a part of. So I did the presenter training with Deb in Castlebar in the Hub, That was brilliant. So many little never mind, tips and tricks that she taught us that day, and that we learned since, just to help you get along with doing public speaking and not mess it up like I am now. And just little things to keep you calm and stuff when you are doing interviews or when you are getting up in front of a crowd. It was massively beneficial.
Issue on my side.
Okay. You weren't missing much. I was stubborn.
I heard a bit of it. Sorry now, my Wi-Fi tonight is big time acting up, unfortunately. But hopefully that connection is going to get a bit stronger. I switched them. But you were saying about your fear of public speaking from what I heard last, and how you were at an event and you'd all prepared, and then you kind of have that run off stage moment.
So bad. I cringe every time I think of it. It comes up in my Snapchat memories and my Facebook memories all the time, the event. And like, I purposely haven't any of the actual presentation at the end, because I was just like, nope, don't ever want to relive that moment. Ever. Like, I literally tried to step over a beanbag and nearly fell on my face as I got on stage. It was the worst. Like,
Wow, so you really did have a very strong fear of public speaking at the time.
yes. It still wouldn't be my favorite thing. Like, people said to me, "Oh, it's not cured. You still die of death," and I'm like, "Yeah, I do," but now I do it. Like, you said to me about doing this, I was like, oh, but I still, like, I'll do it now and say, yeah, fine, whatever, throw me on, it's grand. It won't ever. I don't think it'll ever be my favorite thing. But now I can get on and do it. It won't stop me from doing something I want to do now. Like, if I need to present something, or I need to present to someone, or if I want to do an interview like this, like the blubber my way through it, I'll do it. It mightn't be perfect, I mightn't love it, but I'll do it. Whereas before, I wouldn't have. There wouldn't have been an ocean.
Or the technology might start playing around with you and you don't lose your nerve.
That's all the good. It can cut off a few of the bits where I'm going,
Yeah, right now, I don't know, it might be just on my end. You're completely paused, but I'm sure it's probably just my end.
Oh, don't worry, I never pause for long.
That is for sure. Yeah, that's the one thing I guess from JCI is, no matter what your fear of public speaking, and I know that's part of the reason I joined as well, it's just one of those things that really kind of pushes you out of your comfort zone, but in a really safe and supportive environment. So like, people will kind of give you small tasks first. So I know when I started off, it was just a small thing like introducing a speaker. And even then I was barely able to do it. And then you kind of just slowly progress and you slowly get these encouragements from other members and get these opportunities that sometimes you might just want to say no to, but with that support behind you, and the fact that it is a learn by doing organization, you're just like, okay, I'll do it, because you know that there's so many people rooting for you behind you. And like that, slowly it just builds it up and just makes you that bit more confident at public speaking.
And it's done in a very structured way, because like, even at some of the events, they'll be like, oh, is it a time filler, or we'll just play a game at the end, and they'll be doing extempore. But you're kind of going, oh, that's just filling space, or it's just a game, an icebreaker. But the extempore is actually a massive help to getting used to public speaking and getting used to being able to come up with something on the hop. I used to hate seeing that game coming, and now I'm like, oh no, it's a great game, because it actually gives you you're still holding up a brick, and next thing you're talking about your holiday in the Canaries. You're like, where did I go to that from this? But you just go off, and you find your foot somewhere. Like,
yeah, I think the extempore, for those of you who aren't JCI members, it's basically, as you said, it can be a time filler, or there is actually competitions in it as well. So it's where just something random is taken out of a bag, and you have to talk about it. And I know we were in JCI UK's conference a few weeks ago, and they had the extempore competitions there in Manchester. And it was just great seeing even some non-members that just kind of came along to see what JCI was about, and just, it was a bit of a social night. Even non-members just got involved and just stepped up, and it was incredible to see that, what people can do with 15 seconds to think about an object and to talk about it for a minute. It's
that's hilarious for the stories to go on it.
Without a doubt. So I suppose you might have half answered the question, my next question for you, but just in case, do you think that JCI has played a key role for you in either your career or your personal life, or both, since becoming a member? Do you feel like being a JCI member has helped you along the way?
I don't know where I put it in my career. It definitely has helped me in every way possible. Well, like, it's definitely helped me in my career, as well as it's helped me with public speaking. It definitely massively helped me come up to my interview for my job and stuff. But I work as a carer, so sometimes it can be hard to see how it translates into that. But it's definitely helped me with friendships. It's helped me with connections. Like I'd happily now go to any county in Ireland and contact the JCI guys from around there, Manchester, Sheffield, a lot of parts of England, Malta. Like there's pretty much anywhere in the world you can go. And I haven't even gone to any international conferences that you guys have gone to. It's only from them coming here. But like it's a worldwide friendship, so that's going to help with anything. Having this connection all over the world and having friends all over the world. And it's funny, like every time you go to a JCI event or you do something JCI even online, you suddenly get all these friend requests from JCI people in every part of the world, and you're there going, I don't know you, and then they're messaging and popping up, but you have so much in common with them. So it's definitely a massive support network. So like I know a couple other carers from JCI Manchester that I've had chats back and forth with, and different places that that support you in that way. Definitely, it's helped me in my personal life hugely. Even when my niece was here a year ago or so, she got massive opportunities through JCI. So it's helped me, and it's also helped people connected with me through the network. Like it's this endless support you can have in every area of your life. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I suppose that's the beauty of it being an international organisation based all over the world. Like even this year, the amount of travel opportunities that I received, and I'm definitely looking forward to next year doing some more. So,
Yeah.
JCI Scotland are well known for their debate academy in January, and their Burns night. So that's always a fun weekend. And like that, it's a learning weekend as well. That's an opportunity to practice your public speaking, and then on to European conference, World Congress. There's so many opportunities. And if you were somebody who loves to travel, you could nearly travel anywhere in the world and be nearly guaranteed that if there's not an event on, that you're going to get the opportunity to meet members if you reach out to them. So it's like a big global family, really.
But it's also such a mad pool of people. Like you have people there that are business owners, like people that are high up in their companies, worldwide companies, national companies, and then you have people like me there that are just employees, they're just carers, they're just that aren't working at big companies at all. Like they're working one to one. It's as isolated as you can get, and then you could have someone else that's just working from home or building their own business. Like there's no you have to fit into this box to be in JCI. It's literally if you've got air in your lungs and you're between 18 and 40, you fit in JCI.
Yeah, I love the way you said just like me, but your role is quite important too. But yeah, you're right.
No, I mean, like, it's not a corporate big business with 1,000 people in it. It's just me and one person. So it's a big contrast of how well you'd mix of people.
Yeah, exactly. And there's even students, people who are unemployed, to, as you said, some of the top companies in the world, some of their senior executives. So it's an incredible mix of people, and I suppose that's what makes it such a learning environment and such a supportive environment, because where you might not have the skill set, somebody else in your team might, and that's where you learn and you work together and you really develop your teamwork there as well as your friendships and different opportunities that can come from that. So 100%. So you mentioned earlier that even friends and family of yours have gotten opportunities from it. Do you think, have you been given some of them gentle nudges, or are they just genuinely interested in knowing a bit more about JCI?
If I walked out to my sister right now and asked my housemate had she got a gentle nudge or I think she'd call it a little bit more than forceful than that she's getting gently nudged into JCI for next year. But yeah, no, it's just I can't say enough about it. So it's definitely something I encourage people. Like as I say, if you go to town and you go to a shop you really like, or you go to a pub you really like, you encourage other people to go there because you're like they deserve the business, but two, you want other people to have the same good experience you've had. So same thing with JCI. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't be encouraging people to join it.
Yeah, that's very true. So I guess just to kind of finish up and kind of bring it all together, because I know you've covered quite a lot there, but if you were talking to somebody on the street now who didn't know, and they said, "What is JCI?" Why would you recommend that somebody join JCI?
I hate that question. I hate the question. People say to me, "What is JCI?" Because I'm like, "What isn't it?" Is the easier question. Because the fact it can be anything, and that's what I always say to people. I'm like, JCI is what the members make it. So depends on the branch you're in, whatever the collaborative of what that branch wants is what that branch is. So like you could have some branches are more directed towards business, some branches are more like Mayo's always been kind of a more community based branch. JCI Rise is a new thing that's coming out with JCI now, a lot of the community stuff and building stuff up, and I'm not going to describe that properly, so I'm not even going to try. But it's always been kind of more where JCI Mayo has gone, and that's that's why our branch is geared towards. So JCI is very much whatever you want it to be. So if you say, oh, I don't know if JCI is for me or not, well, it is. That's the simple question. It is. And if you want to do something, join JCI, and then we can all do it together.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's a lot easier to say what can't you get from JCI than what can you get from it. I
Yeah.
suppose the more you put into it when you're a member, the more you get out of it as well. Like some people,
100%, yeah. Definitely saying yes and getting involved in things. Like here's always it to me when I first started, she's like, to say yes and work out the how later. And I was like, no, like I need to understand how I'm getting there, what I'm doing. And I was always kind of a planner. I've never organized, but I was a planner. Um, and there's a face. But yeah, so I started saying yes to things, and I was like, oh God, I don't know how I'm going to do this project or whatever. But you work it out. And also, you're not the first. You didn't invent the wheel in JCI. So no matter what project you're doing, it might be new, but it'd be something like what someone's done before. And they are going, this is the tools I use. This is what I use. Nobody has. It's not like an inventor's thing where I've invented this and I'm hiding the pattern away and no one's going to get it. Everyone's going, this is what I got. I'm happy to share it. Take what are the tools I had. Take the instructions I had. What can I do to help you? How can I support you? So there's no safer place to try anything or to do whatever you want, events wise, because if you fail, nobody's going to be upset with you over it. Like it's well done for trying.
yeah, 100%. I suppose I know myself. I've had a lot of failures over the year, but that's I suppose where you learn, you grow from it, and you move on, and that's kind of what brings you into the next step. And I think for me, I've been kind of fortunate sometimes that I've had a lot of time to put into it, and other years I haven't had as much time. It's more just showing up to the events and doing a few little things. It really depends on kind of what you're able to give at the time. There's no hard rule. You join, you have to be very active. But normally we've seen it time and time again. The more kind of active and the more you throw yourself into it, the more you get out of it. But also the more you really start to enjoy it. It doesn't become something that, oh, I have to do this. It's a case of, oh, I want to do this. You kind of take pride in the projects and events that you run. You learn from them. You like that you develop those friendships more as you go. And then, as I said, we've other people then that kind of just come along, they learn from it, they get to know people, but they're not quite as active in the background. So it really depends kind of on what you're working at yourself and what time you can commit to it. And then the following year, then you might have a lot more time. So yeah, I agree with you that way. It's definitely, I suppose, kind of just to say yes and ask how later. I
Yeah,
completely agree with that as well.
yeah, JCI definitely it grows and changes with you. So like, if you were big involved in things now and you're not involved in things in a month's time, no one's going, oh, but she dropped out there. They're going, oh no, she's got that going on, and everyone's still very understanding about the fact that our lives get busy, and different times of the year JCI could be busier and it could be quieter because if that branch is busier at that time of year, or if you have a lot of hairdressers or whatever in your business and you don't do stuff at weekends. If you have a lot of people that work Monday to Friday, then maybe all your events could be weekends. It very much suits the branch and suits the people in it. So it's not a case of it doesn't suit. If we have a meeting every Tuesday, it's not going to be everything's not going to be on a Tuesday because then that wouldn't suit certain people. So there's always something to suit everybody.
Yeah, completely agree. And I suppose that's the good thing with JCI Ireland. So we have some local organisations. So we've got JCI Galway, Cork, Dublin, Mayo, all who are quite active in their own ways in different areas. Some are kind of, as you said, more community based, others are more business based. But really, it's a great way for people to kind of get to know each other, develop their skills, work together as a team. But then nationally, then we have maybe about 4 or 5 meetups a year where we get together, and there can be different things on. So I know, like this year, for example, one of them did end up being virtual, but we did a great team building weekend, where we did some crazy stuff that you organised, but it was fun and it was great, especially after 2 years being stuck in a pandemic, and people who hadn't met each other before, because an awful lot of members joined during COVID-19. So it was a great way just to kind of let the hair down and kind of get to know each other. And then the next national event, then there was some trainings on different things like the JCI Rise that you mentioned earlier, a new initiative in JCI that our members are learning about, so how they can do projects and events around that, from becoming a better leader to strengthening partnerships. It was a different kind of a day. And then our convention, which just recently happened there in October as well, where like that we had some great speakers on imposter syndrome and how to grow your JCI journey, to a Tri-Nations debate in between Scotland and UK. It really is something for everyone, and every national event can be that bit different as well. So, and that's not even going into all the international opportunities. So there's definitely, as you said earlier, going to be something there for everyone.
And even like now, I know it changed massively with COVID. COVID was a big kind of help towards it, I suppose. But the online stuff, like, so if you're a JCI Ireland member, it doesn't mean you can only attend JCI Ireland stuff or JCI Mayo stuff. You can attend stuff all over the world. Like, I put on murder mystery nights with people in Sheffield and all the UK guys, and it was like they were sitting there beside me. We have had Paddy's Day parties with them. We've had different things. I was on a quiz night with the Malta guys one night, and you can just do whatever you can join in whatever you want, and you can have friendships with these people even though you're on the opposite side of the world. And like, I've never met 90% of them. Because as I said, I'm worse for I haven't gone to all these international ones just yet, but that'll be the next leg of my journey. But yeah, again, to go to them, and like when I go to the international ones, I won't be going in as scared as I was the first time I went to a JCI Mayo one, because I'll already know a load of people at them from different countries. I won't be just glued to the Irish members. I'll know members from Switzerland and Sweden and Malta. I'm trying to think where else I've met people from. Some of the Poland guys. So we've met some people from different branches all over the world from never leaving Ireland.
Yeah, the online definitely has opened up, strengthening all those international connections, and the amount of collaborations that have gone on between some local organisations in Ireland and so many countries around the world. It's been incredible to see over the last few years. And now that things are kind of going back to in person, it's nice to see kind of a mixture of both. And the way people come up with these ideas to find like maybe a common issue, it could be somewhere in America or it could be somewhere in Europe, could be anywhere really, and how it's a common issue to maybe the west of Ireland or the south of Ireland. And they work on projects together. It's incredible to see.
Also, we've been lucky. We've been lucky with Ciara as well. That with Ciara being VP and with the debating training and stuff, she's gone to a lot of branches around the world and developed relationships with them and brought those relationships home, and then they've paired up with Ireland, so they feel like they know us, and it opens that door as well. So it doesn't even take the full branch going. It could be one person going to make a connection and they come back and the branches connect.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Charlotte, thanks so much for joining me this evening. So just one thing just before you go, if you were to, and you're not going to like this, but
Curveball questions you always have.
Describe JCI in just one word. What would it be?
Inspiring.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That actually kind of goes with this year's theme a little bit.
That's why I picked it.
That's where you got it from. Goes with our inspiring.
It's on the wall behind your head on, yeah.
I know, but you can't really see it. My head's blocking that. Shaz, thank you so much. I know it's not easy being the very first one up for a series like this.
I set the bar now.
Yes, you have. I know how busy you are with everything you have going on. So thank you so much for giving up your time this evening, telling a little bit about your story. I wish you the best in the last 2-3 weeks in your role for this year, and excited to see what you go on to do next year. And just to end up by saying, I hope you have a lovely Christmas, and thank you so much for all the support that you've given to JCI Ireland this year. It's much
same to you, and thanks a million. And I promise I'll put more effort into the appearance next time.
No worries at all. That's
all right, talk to you later. Bye.
So thanks everyone for joining. Tomorrow evening we're going to be joined again at the same time, same place, hopefully. Hopefully we won't get any Wi-Fi issues tomorrow on my end. But tomorrow we're going to have the local president of JCI Dublin, Melissa Collins, is going to be joining us tomorrow at 7 o'clock. So I know that she's had very different experiences to Charlotte and joined for very different reasons as well. So I can't wait to hear a bit more about Melissa's story tomorrow. So see a few more on, and make sure if you are on tomorrow to ask some questions in the chat, and that we'll be able to get some back. So look forward to seeing you then.